Ladies and gentlemen, it is my very great pleasure to present to you Ali Mehmet Celal Şengor, who, unlike several of the other awardees tonight who claimed that they were normal people, I think no one, including Celal, would claim that he is, in fact, a normal person. He is a unique figure in the earth sciences, a world leader in tectonics. He speaks English, German, French, Italian, Russian, Spanish, Turkish, and probably some other languages, many of them in an extremely posh, or as the British would say, plummy accent. Celal was born in Turkey, and he received his PhD at SUNY Albany, working with the legendary Kevin Burke and John Dewey. And there are now very many permutations of the names Dewey, Şengor, and Burke appear on quite a number of seminal publications, which are now classics. Sadly, Kevin Burke, a dear friend to me as well as to Celal, and also the recipient of the Holmes Medal in 2014, passed away 2 weeks ago in Massachusetts. So this is both a time of celebration for Celal, but also for us a time of sadness. Celal has written hundreds of research papers, and of those I want to just highlight a few of his most impactful contributions. First, for me, the Paleozoic assembly of the Altaid origin in Central Asia, where he showed that this newly formed continental crust was composed of subduction arcs that were swept up and added to Asia. And this was he was basically one of the very first to propose that the continents grow by accretion of magmatic arcs, which is now the accepted thought. Second, his regional analysis of vertebrate fossils showed that the closing of the Paleotethys was correlated and played a role in the Permian extinction, thereby highlighting the interaction between the evolution of life and global tectonics. In his home country of Turkey, he's contributed more to the understanding of this complex region than any other scientist, following in the footsteps of the great Professor İhsan Çetin, and his work forms the basis of our modern understanding of Turkey and adjacent regions. His interests have now spread beyond the Earth and to the other planets, and he recently spent several weeks mapping thousands of thrust faults on Mercury, showing that the contraction of this planet occurred in the very early moments of the solar system. Celal is also noted for being not only a great student of geology, but also of geological history and philosophy. He often regales his friends with tales of the ancient geologic greats. The first coming to mind are Emile Aragon and Alfred Seuss. And from this, he has the rather annoying habit of telling his friends, and especially I know at least me, that the idea that we're so proud of and published last year was first thought of 150 years ago by one of these greats. Celal has chosen to live in Turkey, and he has formed the mainstay of Turkish geological science, single-handedly strengthening academic institutions for geological research there. At great risk to himself and his family, he's written and spoken about the need to maintain a secular democratic government. This is a lesson in courage and shows his commitment to democratic ideals. So, in closing, Celal, it is my very great pleasure, indeed your honor, to say that I've been your friend and colleague for now 40 years. From the first day in an office at MIT, when you walked in, larger than life, although not quite as large as now, but fresh out of a movie set, this dapper Englishman in a three-piece suit, a pocket watch, bow tie, and in a posh accent said, "Hello, I'm Celal Şengor," and me in my blue jeans, who had heard of this Celal Şengor, said, "Oh, I know you." And according to Celal, I jumped 3 feet backwards at that moment, although I think that may not be quite accurate. But anyway, after that beginning, who would have thought that now, 30 years later, we would be standing here on this stage together? So Celal, congratulations, and very much deserved your receipt of the Arthur Holmes Medal.
Celal Şengor is presented the 2018 Arthur Holmes Medal and Honorary Membership.
Jonathan just said I could respond. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Wiki, for proposing me, even after having known me for 40 years. What she said was true about our first meeting. And what she said about where I come from is also true. It always helps to be from an uncivilized country, because then people remember what you do, however little important it is. So being from Turkey helped. And I'm really grateful to two people. Although they were also professors in Turkey, they have become well known. İhsan Çetin, the fellow who discovered the North Anatolian Fault, and there were really the first active strike-slip faults. San Andreas was still being argued about. Çetin said North Anatolian Fault is a nice strike-slip fault, and he appreciated the idea that he was one of the very first to say that the tectonism on Earth can be described taking place along narrow boundaries around more or less rigid blocks, he called them at the time. And Dan Mackenzie assured me that his interest in continental tectonics was really encouraged by Çetin's 1948 paper. The other one was a geographer, Sir Erinç, who was the first really to understand the quaternary climate changes around the Black Sea, because he could read both Turkish and Russian. So that helped. I have to mention, which Wiki already did, two very great people that influenced me enormously, John Dewey and Kevin Burke. Without them, I wouldn't be standing here. They taught me how to do geology, and the basic message was, do not specialize. Geology is the science of the Earth. Be interested in the planet and any other planet that might come your way, which was very helpful. Well, you needed a good memory to do that. And Wiki mentioned that I'm not very normal. I'm not. I have been diagnosed with they said it was a slight Asperger's disease. And that's extremely helpful to have, because it gives you two things. One, it gives you a very good memory. And two, it gives you this fantastic ability of not to give a damn about other people's feelings. Which my poor, long-suffering wife sitting here always tells me that how unresponsive I am to any empathic feelings. And I keep telling her I don't feel them. And she says, I know. And it helps, I assure you, because when you have graduate students crying on your shoulder, you say, piss off, go and do your work, which is extremely helpful to them and to me. I have to mention Clark Birchfield, who during my very first days in the United States, been my teacher and a lifelong friend, has been enormously helpful to me. Ken Shu in Switzerland was of great help from literally day one. Danny Bernoulli, he put up with me, and last but not least, Rudi Trimpe. He was a great figure, really a figure larger than life. I learned a huge amount of geology from him, and I learned how to say, oh, be modest, and never practice that advice yourself. Thank you very much. I'm extremely honored by this medal. I'm sure poor Arthur Holmes is spinning in his grave, but never mind. I enjoy the medal. Thank you.